Imagine walking into a building that looks like a literal Harry Potter set. 5 stories of winding iron staircases, gold leaf ceilings, and intricate hand-chiseled stone details covering every inch of the walls. Now imagine tearing it all down to build a parking lot. Today we're looking at 5 architectural masterpieces that were so beautiful they sparked citywide riots, but they were demolished anyways. Wait until you see the landmark that was so beloved that the city actually held a funeral for it while it was still standing. This is the Garrick Theatre. Built in 1891, it was one of Chicago's tallest buildings. A 17-story tower designed by Adler and Sullivan at the absolute peak of their careers. The interior was a masterclass in detail, from the 1,300 seats to the hand-carved terracotta and a vaulted ceiling covered in gold leaf stenciling. Every inch was engineered for perfect acoustics. Originally designed as a German opera house, it later became a regular theater, then a cinema, and eventually a television studio. The structure was solid, but business began declining in the 1930s, and by 1960 it completely failed. Chicago demolished the Garrick, sparking an outrage so intense it officially kick-started the city's historic preservation movement. What took years of manpower to create was replaced by a lonely parking structure, though the site now holds modern retail buildings. Chicago lost a theater, but wait until you see what Melbourne, Australia lost, all because they didn't have enough bathrooms. This is the Federal Coffee Palace. When it opened in 1888, it was a 560-room architectural statement, standing as the tallest and most opulent building in Australia. It took an army of craftsmen to execute the French Second Empire exterior, which was covered in iconic columns, carved lions, and stone griffins. Inside, guests like Alexander Graham Bell and Mark Twain walked through a 4-story sunlit lobby and an arcade of 14 massive marble columns. This wasn't a building you just constructed. It was a masterpiece of specialized manpower that we simply don't have the skill or budget to replicate today. But by the 1960s, the palace was seen as an embarrassment. While the stone was still solid, the business was failing as travelers chose modern hotels over a relic with creaking floors and a lack of ensuite bathrooms. Instead of retrofitting the plumbing, the city let the wrecking balls knock it down in 1972. It was replaced by a lifeless concrete tower, which was also demolished in 2021. But while Melbourne was worried about toilets, Minneapolis was busy tearing down a literal fortress of glass and light. Next up is the Metropolitan Building. When it was finished in 1890, it was the city's first true skyscraper, a 12-story fortress of green granite and red sandstone, featuring corner observation towers and a massive rooftop garden. While the exterior looked like a heavy stone castle, the inside was a masterpiece of light and iron. It featured a massive central skylight that poured sun down into a 12-story atrium, where the walkways were actually made of translucent glass so light could reach every floor. The craftsmanship was everywhere, from the antique oak finishes to the ornamental brasswork. This wasn't just an office building, it was the most prestigious address in the city. By 1961, the Metropolitan wasn't crumbling in decay, it was full of thriving businesses. But because the surrounding neighborhood was declining, the city decided to tear down 40% of its downtown, including the Metropolitan. Today, a modern office block stands in its place, a heart-wrenching trade-off. However, Vancouver had a landmark so beloved that the city actually held a funeral for it while it was still standing. Since 1913, if you were meeting someone in Vancouver, Canada, you said, "Meet me at the Burke's Clock." This Edwardian masterpiece was the city's heart. It was home to the Burke's luxury jewelry store, covered in light cream terracotta with a base of polished granite. Inside, mahogany display cases, polished marble columns, and a vaulted entrance hall. Every detail was built to feel expensive. In the 70s, the owner wanted a modern office tower. The public went to war. The group called Save the Old Building, the SOBs, fought for 3 years. They even held a mock funeral with a casket to mourn the loss of the city's soul. The developers refused to stop. In 1975, it was leveled for this, the Scotia Tower. It's now remembered as an act of corporate vandalism. But even that loss pales in comparison to the next one that was literally crushed by its own success. This is the one that haunts the internet. Old Main Library in Cincinnati. While the stone exterior isn't as impressive as some of the others we've looked at, the interior was a literal cast iron cathedral. Originally designed to be an opera house, the library stepped in after the original owner went bankrupt and created a space that looked more like a Harry Potter set than a local public library. The scale was staggering: 5 stories of soaring alcoves, winding spiral staircases, and a massive skylight. The walls were lined with ornamental ironwork that held 300,000 books. But the building was so popular that by the 1950s, it was crammed with 1.5 million books, stacked 3 deep. The building wasn't falling apart, it was being crushed by its own weight. By 1955, the floors were literally sagging from the weight of the books. Instead of reinforcing the iron, the city hired the Cleveland Wrecking Company to bring it all down. They demolished what many considered one of the most beautiful interiors in America to make room for a parking garage and a generic office building. I came across a specific word while researching these buildings: anemoia. It means nostalgia for a time or place you've never known. It's a strange feeling, but it's the only way to describe looking at what we've traded for modern concrete and glass. I want to know, which of these 5 lost landmarks hits you with that feeling the hardest? Drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you like unpacking the past, hit subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos.